All right, ready to dive in. We're cracking open the annual reports of CBOE Global Markets, this time from 2020 through 23.
And let me tell you, these reports, they're more than just numbers. They're practically a playbook on how CBOE's strategizing, innovating, really leaving their mark on the financial world.
Yeah, leaving their mark is an understatement. But for those who might not be familiar, what is CBOE Global Markets? What's the quick elevator pitch?
Imagine a bustling marketplace, but instead of, fruits and veggies, it's stocks, options, futures, even crypto, all changing hands at lightning speed. That's CBOE. They own some of the biggest exchanges out there, including, get this, the largest options exchange right here in the U.S.
No small potatoes there. Their reach is huge. But what really struck me digging through these reports is how they actually make money. It's not just about volume, right?
Exactly. CBOE's got this knack for locking down exclusive rights, almost like a monopoly, on some seriously in-demand products.
Okay, now you've got to give me an example. What kind of exclusive rights are we talking about?
Think S&P 500 index options. If you want to trade options on the S&P 500, you got to go through CBOE. It's like having the only bakery in town that sells sourdough everyone's lining up.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the S&P 500, that's kind of a big deal in the financial world, isn't it?
Huge. It's the benchmark for the U.S. stock market. When the S&P 500 gets the sniffles, the whole market freaks out.
So CBOE's got their finger on the pulse, and everyone's paying for a read. Smart move. But they don't stop there. The reports mention something called the Vistita methodology, which honestly sounds kind of mysterious.
It's actually pretty cool. Imagine a gauge for how much the market's freaking out. That's the VIX, the volatility index. CBOE, they've got the exclusive formula, the secret sauce, for how to calculate it.
So people are literally trading on how uncertain the market feels. That's wild.
You got it. Investors use CBOE's VIX options and futures to either play it safe or, double down on the chaos. For CBOE, it's another revenue stream they've basically invented.
Genius. They're turning market jitters into profits. But all this talk of exclusive products, market influence, it makes you wonder about the legal battles they must face. It can't always be smooth sailing, right?
Oh, absolutely. The reports are surprisingly candid about the regulatory tightropes they walk. One case that jumped out at me, a class action lawsuit from the city of Providence all the way back in 2014.
A class action. Ooh, that sounds juicy. What was the drama there?
High-frequency trading. Imagine a bunch of Wall Street guys armed with algorithms, making trades faster than you can blink, exploiting tiny market glitches.
So did CBOE get caught in the crossfire?
Well, long story short, they managed to navigate it, but these things, even if you win, take their toll. Shows you the kind of scrutiny these companies are under.
High stakes, for sure. Speaking of navigating tricky situations, their reports mentioned a company they acquired, Beads Trading. That rang a bell.
Ah, Beads. Now that's a story of CBOE playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. You see, Beads, they operate what's called an alternative trading system, or ATS, which is basically a whole different ballgame from a regular stock exchange.
Okay, so different rules, different playing field. Why even bother? Seems like extra work.
Strategy, my friend. CBOE, they set up bids super carefully so it wouldn't be considered a facility of their main exchanges.
I'm following so far, but what's the big deal about this whole facility thing? Why all the hoops to jump through?
Regulations, plain and simple. Exchanges and their facilities, they've got to play by a much stricter set of rules than a standalone ATS. By keeping bids separate, CBOE gives them more flexibility.
So bids is like their secret weapon, able to move faster and more freely in the market.
You got it. And it's totally by the book, just brilliant strategy. But here's where things take an interesting turn. CBOE's not just focused on the technicalities. They're putting a surprising amount of emphasis on their people, too.
Now that's refreshing. I'll admit, I don't usually associate warm and fuzzy with financial reports. What's CBOE doing differently? It's like they're saying, hey, our people, they're not just numbers on a spreadsheet. They're the heart of this operation. So how does that actually play out? What are they doing that's so special?
Well, for starters, they're big on communication, like really big. Think regular pulse surveys, just checking in with everyone, seeing how they're feeling, what's working, what's not.
Oh, I like that. Proactive, rather than just waiting for things to boil over.
Exactly. And get this, the CEO, every week he sends out a personal letter to the entire company.
No way. A personal letter from the top dog, that's pretty rare.
Right. It's like, hey, team, here's what we're working on. Here's where we're headed. Thanks for being awesome. Just that little personal touch can make a huge difference.
For sure. It's all about building a strong team, a strong culture. And that goes beyond just the here and now. Their reports talked about succession planning, which I thought was really interesting.
Right. They're thinking long term, making sure there's a smooth handover when the time comes, identifying future leaders, grooming them, passing on the knowledge.
It's like they're playing 3D chess with their leadership pipeline.
Okay.
But, okay, let's be real for a second. They're in a cutthroat industry.
Yeah.
How do they handle the competition? Because someone's always trying to eat your lunch in the financial world, right?
Oh, absolutely. The reports don't sugarcoat it. They know they've got to stay sharp, keep innovating, especially with new players popping up all the time.
It's like an arms race, constantly trying to outmaneuver each other.
Exactly. But here's the thing about CBOE. They're adaptable. They see a challenge and they figure out a way to turn it into an opportunity.
Give me an example. What's a challenge they've turned into an opportunity?
Digital assets. They didn't just watch crypto from the sidelines. They jumped right in, bought ErisX, rebranded it as CBOE Digital.
That was a bold move. What made them so sure about crypto?
I think they saw the potential, the way blockchain was changing the game, and they recognized the need for reliable information, for tools to navigate this new, often volatile world. So what they do? Developed digital asset indices, data offerings.
They're like the pioneers mapping out this new frontier. But did they ever express any doubts, any cautionary tales about this crypto adventure?
You know, that's the thing. They're surprisingly grounded. In their 2022 report, they actually dedicate a whole section to the risks of digital assets.
Oh, wow, really? What kind of risks are they talking about?
Well, they acknowledge that it's still early days, the business models are evolving, and there's a lot of uncertainty. They're not pretending it's all smooth sailing.
So they're not just throwing caution to the wind. They're being smart about it.
Exactly. It's like they're saying, we believe in this, but we're also going to be realistic about the challenges. That's the kind of balanced perspective you want to see.
Absolutely. They're not just chasing the hype. They're thinking long term.
Which is exactly what they're doing with their whole CBOE global listings thing. Talk about a game changer.
Right. Connecting companies and ETFs globally. It's like they're building the financial infrastructure of the future. And we're just starting to see it take shape in these reports.
Exactly. It's like witnessing the birth of something big. And knowing CBOE, they're not ones to just dip their toes in the water. They're diving right in.
CBOE Global Listings, definitely one to watch. This is getting really exciting. But for now, let's take a quick break, come back, and wrap up our deep dives into the amazing world of CBOE Global Markets. All right, so we've gone deep on CBOE, their strategies, their legal battles, even their company culture. But as we wrap up, the big question is, what does it all mean? What does CBOE's story tell us about the future of finance?
You know, I think CBOE gives us a glimpse into the forces shaping the financial world right now, globalization, the shift to digital, and maybe surprisingly, the importance of people.
They seem to be riding those waves, not getting crushed by them.
Yeah.
Think about CBOE Global Listings. Isn't that them saying the future's interconnected?
Absolutely. It's all about breaking down those old geographical barriers. And on the tech side, CBOE Digital, they're not afraid to dive headfirst into the unknown, figure it out as they go.
They're definitely not stuck in the past. But, you know, with all this talk of tech and globalization, what really stood out to me was their focus on people. That's not something you see every day in the financial world.
Right. It's refreshing. It's like they're saying, yeah, we've got algorithms and blockchain and all that, but at the end of the day, it's the people who make it happen.
Exactly. And building that strong culture, that sense of shared purpose, it makes a difference.
Huge difference. So, yeah, CBOE's playing a high-stakes game, no doubt. But they're playing it smart, they're adapting, and they haven't forgotten about the human side of things.
Couldn't have put it better myself.
Yeah.
They're not just navigating the future of finance, they're helping to shape it.
And that's what makes them so fascinating to watch.
Absolutely. So as we sign off, here's something to chew on. How will CBOE's global ambitions and their digital moves change your world? It's a big question and one we'll be keeping an eye on. This has been The Deep Dive. Thanks for exploring with us.